Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's broadcast of Sisters of Legacy. We appreciate you tuning in. We're going to go ahead and do our intro, and we'll be right back. All right, and we are back, guys. Again, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. And just want to say, we've been missing Tangela last couple of weeks. She got a lot going on, some personal stuff, some family stuff, but we do miss her presence. And I just wanted to acknowledge that she'll be back, hopefully, the very beginning of next year. She'll be back with us. But tonight we have the wonderful Shanetta McNair.
Hello.
And of course, the very fabulous Katrina Taylor.
Hey.
And me, I am Samantha Walker. So thank you guys for tuning in. We are just going to jump right into our topic. So tonight, or maybe I'll tell you guys how I came up with the topic. So I know every year, going into the new year, people jump into all these great resolutions, new year, new me, better me, whatever, all these things that they want to change about themselves, supposedly. And within a week or two, maybe 3 weeks into the new year, the resolution is a no-go. And I always think, like, why is that? So it kind of made me think, like, do people drop their resolutions because they're actually already who they think they should be? Or do they drop them because they just make them frivolously? So tonight, I feel like before you can decide if you want to change something, you have to take inventory of who you are and where you are. So we're kind of going to do that a little bit tonight. We're kind of going to take a little bit of inventory and just kind of say out loud, some of the things we think about ourselves and our current positions, in our head. So the actual topic is, are you the woman or mother you always envisioned you would be? If you're a guy and you're watching, the same would apply. You would just add father or man that you envisioned you'd be. So yeah, that's going to be our topic, and we are going to jump right in. And I'm just going to ask Shanetta to start us off.
I think for me, when I think about that, I think that it's kind of an evolving situation. So you envision yourself being something, and then kind of as you grow into your role, as you grow into who you are, it kind of changes. And you're kind of like, okay, I think I want to work on this. I think I want to do more of this. I think I want to do better at this. I am not big on New Year's resolutions, but I am big on vision board. So like what I typically do, it's so funny because I really didn't move over here on purpose with the topic in mind, but this was what we, in 1 year, instead of doing posters, we did our vision boards like this. And this is my husband's, actually mine is on the other side, but this is his actually that he put together that particular year. So I guess it was 2016, and I still have this one out. But we did these as opposed to resolutions.
Okay.
And I would do them with the kids too, but it was just kind of a way of saying, okay, this is what I envision myself doing, being, and becoming. Not really a resolution, but a goal to kind of push towards. So I think that people lose vision of what they set as a New Year's resolution because it's not really realistic. It's not attainable. It's like, oh, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds, and then like you eat cake and pie the next night, and like you're cool with that. So like we can't set these crazy resolutions, and we know we're not gonna do anything to go towards them. So you kind of have to you got to do something. So I think it's better to set kind of goals and to give yourself more time than just a year to make a goal happen. Sometimes you need to set goals for longer time frames, and that'll help you to kind of make them more realistic.
All right, so just let me ask you a question. So with the whole setting of goals, do before y'all do the vision board, do you kind of just take inventory of what your year's been like and where you are, that type of thing, or do you just this what we want to do going forward? Like, what's the process for you guys doing the vision board?
I think it's a little bit of both because that's not the only time of the year that I have my kids set goals. When we get ready to go back to school, the night before school starts, I make everybody set a school year goal.
Oh, okay.
Which I guess I've done that for my last time now since the kid is a senior.
Oh,
I'm sitting here processing it and thinking about it. But every night, the night before school, like we set a goal for that. If something else came up, like throughout the school year or throughout the year period, we would set different goals and kind of make our way towards them. So goals is something that we kind of talk about throughout the year at different moments for different reasons. So when it comes down to New Year's Day and we're saying, okay, let's do our vision boards, what goals do you have for this year? What do you want to reach towards? What do you want to push towards? What do you want to do within this, next time frame? Or is it going to be a 5-year goal? Is it going to be a 10-year goal? Because like one of my kids one year had done something that was maybe like 5 years off,
okay.
but they kind of set it as a goal and then continued to work towards it.
Gotcha. And okay, so Trina.
Yeah, I don't really do the New Year's resolution thing either because it just never really caught hold. I mean, yeah, I'm that person that 3 weeks in, I'm not, I'm back to eating the whole roll of cookies. So, I mean, but it's I do have goals. But again, like Shanetta was saying, it's not like that I set goals at the beginning of the year. It's like as things come up, as it, during the year, whenever I need to set new goals or reach towards something else, I'll set those. But just thinking right now, reflecting on this question, I think I have an issue that I have to like every year, every month, every week. I'm setting the same goal. I procrastinate.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things like, yeah, this week we're gonna have another try. So that's always a goal to try to just, at this point it's like procrastinate less.
Okay.
Just less of it. Because, I'm 48. I'm probably gonna procrastinate for the rest of my life. But if I can do less of it, listen, you gotta face reality sometimes.
Don't do that.
Get some of it done. Like, get 3 things off the list. Like sometimes you have to deal, some things you just have to deal with. It is what it is. But as far as, I have other goals as well though. I like to eat healthier,
Mm-hmm.
Exercise. I'm not trying to be skinny. That ship has sailed. But we want to prevent high blood pressure. We want to prevent going on any types of medications. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just preventative, eat healthier, have a healthier lifestyle. I'm not going to lose 30 pounds. It's just not going to happen. But listen, I can eat healthier. I can exercise. I'm just saying I can exercise. I can like attainable goals. Like, like you set your goals to be attainable. I'm not going to lose 30 pounds. I can eat vegetables and you know what I'm saying? Like I can walk, I can do things consistently. You know what I mean? Like, so don't laugh at me, Sam.
I know.
I'm trying That's
Listen,
attainable.
I got it. So, how are you tonight, spiritual butterfly? Thanks for joining us. So, basically, Trina, your goal is to just be more realistic, and
Yes, and because when you actually hit those realistic goals, then that makes you move forward and do better. You know, I could do that.
Yeah.
okay. So
You know what I mean?
you were saying you're like a procrastinator. So, is it like you're? Okay. What did he say? So you set measurable goals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying you procrastinate in terms of you wait till the last minute and then it's like the fire's under you and then you jump and do it. Are you that kind of procrastinator, or you just like you just keep pushing it? Oh, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
Any type of procrastination that happens, I do it. I do it all. I do it all. I mean, I do less of it now that I'm running. I'm running my own business,
Right.
because when I was working for somebody else, it was just miserable. So I procrastinate like all the time. It was just like, okay, I have another day to do that appeal. Okay, we'll do it at the last possible minute, and it's horrible because I would do a great job at the last minute. So if I could probably do, yes, I do. I am a master procrastinator. Yes. But I mean, it's better when, I don't procrastinate as much
Mhm.
because I'm doing something that I want to do.
Right.
So as far as business is concerned, but like that pile of laundry, it's probably not gonna get folded. I mean, I keep saying I'm gonna fold it today, tomorrow, and then eventually,
Listen,
it's
I'm
the
sure you are
folding
not.
and putting away. It's the folding and putting away. Who want to do that?
You are not the only person with that laundry struggle.
It's a
I,
struggle.
I'm sure in houses everywhere with clean laundry probably still sitting in the basket. So I totally get it.
But I think people envision themselves as, I mean, I'm sure there's some neat freaks who, fold everything, put it away. And I envision myself as that person, but it just kind of doesn't happen for me.
Okay, so Emily said, what sparks your motivation? Trina, since you're talking, you go ahead and answer first.
Um, what area? I mean, it depends. It depends on what it is. Um, probably the end result. The end result. Like,
Okay.
I'm motivated to just, well, stick with the laundry. I'm motivated to do it if I feel stressed out in my space. So if
Okay.
my room feels like really cluttered, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get it, because that feeling when your space is clear and free of
Right.
clutter. So when I put that goal in my mind, like I want to have that peaceful feeling, that motivates me to get it done. Just knowing that, okay, when I'm done, I'm gonna feel like, so
Okay.
yeah. The goal, the end goal, I think, kind of sparks the motivation to get it done.
And Shanetta, what sparks your motivation?
I think it does. It depends on like the area that we're looking at to determine like what can motivate me to kind of make things happen. Because I have selective procrastination as well, where it's just kind of like with certain areas, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna get it done, and then I'm like, oh my god, I have to get it done now.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a choice anymore. Like it has to be done now. I have 2 hours to finish. So it's just kind of like it depends on like what's going on, but like yeah, I think something is kind of making me feel kind of like just out of control. Like it kind of makes you say, okay, stop, evaluate, handle it, like deal with it now. But motivation, it just depends on like what I'm doing it for, what's the purpose, what's the area, if it's work related, if it's family related, if it's church related, if it like it just depends, because so many things can motivate so many different movements.
Hmm. Okay, well, I have to say, I'm not really. much of a procrastinator. I'm the let me do it and get it out the way type of person. Like I don't like to wait. I hate capital H to wait till the last minute. I hate when people last minute me. Like it really disturbs my soul. Like I can't even put into words what it does to me when people last minute me. You know, so like my motivation is like when I come up with something, I'm like on it. It could be the middle of the night. I have the idea. I got to get up and write it down. And now I want to tell them about it. Like I'm like, hey, let me tell you about it right now because I'm always the let's get it done. I'm the okay. Well, 6 months from now, I want to be over there. So every 3 weeks, I should have taken 37 steps. Like that's kind of the way that I mostly process things. And I guess my motivation is kind of like I don't like to leave things uncompleted.
Yeah.
Now, on the bad side, I will say the thing that demotivates me is unfortunately, and I'm trying hard to work through it, I'm slowly working through it, it's people. Like if I come to you and I'm super excited, like Shanetta, oh, I think this is something, and you're like, oh, okay. See that face, like right there, it was involuntary. I didn't even mean to make that face. You see how that just like that will throw my whole. Because then I'm like, okay, well, Shanetta ain't doing it. Like, like I'm not gonna let her mess up, my motivation. Like I'll just, all right, we're gonna go around her and keep it moving. So like, unfortunately, with different things, I will say I'll let people demotivate me because when stuff seems like it's about to get too involved and like borderline drama-ish, yeah, I'm good. Like I realize the things that trigger me and the things that send me in the wrong direction. So like I have to kind of like leave it alone. Like so this week I was like, oh my gosh, how you be thinking about somebody really heavy and you're like, okay, I need to reach out. And I haven't talked to this person in a good while. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send this text. I ain't going to call because I don't know if I'm really ready to talk yet. But, a text is kind of easy. So as soon as I picked up my phone to send the text, you click on their name and then I see like our last text exchange. And I was like, nope, never mind. Right then, the whole motivation to reach out just because I was like, you know what, this is the drama right here. Why we haven't spoken. And so like I couldn't even reach out because I seen the last text. That you sent. I totally demotivated me. So I can say like, sometimes I allow people to to cause me to make a different decision. But as a rule, I'm not much of a procrastinator. Like I just like to, if I'm gonna do it, either I'm 100 or I'm 0. Like, I try not to do too much. What they say, that lukewarm.
Yeah.
Like yeah, either I'm all in or I ain't interested. And of course that has a lot of drawbacks to it. So I'm slowly trying to to work on a thing. She said, glad you didn't do it. Yeah, the sad part though, I will say is I really need to do it. Because when something really sits sits in your spirit, you really like need to do it. And so I'm trying to motivate myself to handle it, but it's a hard one.
So how do you get past the, I guess, the roadblock when something demotivates you? Like what motivates you to go around it? Like what takes you to that?
Huge. So like, okay, so basically I have maybe 3 people that, like I can call and be like, okay, look, this is what it is and whatever. So usually I start with like Anthony because, as great as we are together, we're kind of yin and yang when it comes to different things. So a lot of times he'd be like, "Oh, Sam, don't be like that. Go ahead and do it." So, when I talked to him about it, he didn't do that this time. So that didn't work. And then, like when it get kind of heavy, sometimes I'll call my pastor, depending on what it is, or sometimes I'll call the wise one, as we call her, Lisa Jackson, which is Katrina's sister. Um, because she always, well, Trina, she just give it to you straight. Like she love you, and she gonna love you regardless, but she ain't gonna let you like falter and go to the side. She gonna give it to you straight, and
Yeah.
she be like, Sam, now and I'm like, okay. So yeah, sometimes you have to. I think having that somebody that's going to hold you accountable
Mhm.
makes a big difference. Like somebody that can see you in your future, better than what you are this day. I think those things make a difference. I'm not going to say friends because sometimes people think a friend is just somebody that agree with everything you do.
Right.
So not a friend. Like I have to have people because I will admit I'm very stubborn and I can get a little pouty and attitudey. So I have to have people that be like, get over yourself and get it together.
Right.
So that's kind of what helps me when I get demotivated. Somebody saying, hey, you kind of living down here. I need you to bring it up a notch or something.
Mhm.
Ladies, I will watch replay. I'm at work, but I love this. Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Let me know how you like the replay. But yeah, so the original question is: are you the woman or mother you always envisioned you would be? I would have to say no on both fronts. Let me explain why. Because I moved out of my mom's house at 18, and I lived on my own, and I was by myself. I didn't want nobody's kids. I didn't want anybody's husband. Like I was the oldest of five. Like when I moved out, I kind of just wanted to be left alone. So at 18, I envisioned myself being left alone. Just being a great aunt. When my siblings grew up and had kids. Oh, little John could come over and take a little John home. So like I didn't really envision myself being all emotional, like and and having kids and all the stuff that I have now. Like yeah, I didn't really envision this for my life. I mean, I think the change was I had to grow some, and I definitely had to mature and heal some, because life happens and things happen and you have different experiences. So for what I envisioned myself, I guess, when I left my mom's house, no, I'm like a totally different person. Like, sometimes people say, oh, well, you mean. No, I was really mean. Like, like I'm a whole nother, person. So for me, no, I'm nowhere near what I thought I would be, but it turned out to be a great thing. Having my children and my very emotional daughter who makes me just as emotional as she is. It's turned out to be like an incredible blessing. And even getting married to the same person twice. Who does that? But that even that has turned out to be a tremendous blessing for me. So I would say 2020 for me looks nothing like what I envisioned years ago, but for the better.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I
Trina,
would,
oh, go ahead.
I would have to say that years ago, I did not envision myself as anybody's mother, or for that matter, I wasn't really sure whether or not I would ever be anybody's wife.
Right.
Um, but this was like, of course, way before children and a husband. I literally thought too that I would kind of be like the one that would constantly, because I was um just kind of like, I was okay by myself. I was
Right.
okay kind of doing my own thing, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I don't know that I'm ever gonna have kids. I remember one time in high school saying, I don't even want kids. Like, I don't even like kids.
Right.
And then, like, fast forward, and here we are now with the whole family and, like, just everything. Um, so I think as time progresses, as we grow up, the things that we envisioned, I guess maybe when we were younger and less mature, um, kind of changes into, you know, something completely different. You kind of evolve into kind of this whole different person.
Right. Trina.
I think when I was younger, I kind of envisioned some like I was gonna be some, I don't know, corporate TV jet setter attorney and all that fabulousness. Then I
Right.
found out it's not even like TV, and it's very just humdrum and boring. I was just like, this is not like that. This is just work, just regular work. Um, but as a mother, like I, I didn't think I would have to be so much of the disciplinarian that I
Oh,
have to be, and I don't like that part of it. But like I have to balance it, and
right.
like that's the hard part, trying to balance the nurture. I just want to stay on the nurturing side, but now I got to discipline and all that. And I'll tell my son, I was like, I don't even like this. I don't even like fussing at you, but you making me fuss at you. It's your fault. I told him that last week actually, making me have to fuss. I don't really like it, but like, and I never envisioned that. I did envision, like, I thought when I was younger that I was gonna have a daughter and we'd be singing together. We have duets and all that. Child, she could hold a tune. She's just not a singer. Like, she didn't get that gene, but she can dance. Like she's a fabulous dancer. She's a great dancer. And so we end up shaking our head at each other because I can't dance. I can't even, like, I got my two steps, side to side, side to side. That's all I got. And so I'm shaking my head at her when she's singing, and she's shaking her head at me when I'm trying to dance. So that was that.
Wow. That's funny. So neither one of y'all had that. Oh, I want to grow up and marry Prince Charming and have a house with a picket fence and a dog.
Nope.
No.
No.
Nope. I literally just, I mean, I think it was just kind of like, I'm cool being by myself. Like, I'm just going to go out here. I'm going to do my thing. I knew I was going to go to college. I knew I was going to be something, amazing, but I
Mhm.
wasn't sure what that amazing would turn out to be. There was a time where I just knew I was going to be living in Washington, D.C. I was going to kind of be, just like living this life.
Right. This life.
To DC, like
Fabulous.
I visited like once or twice, and like that was it. But nothing like what life is now. It just kind of, it's like, wow, okay, this is, not really what I thought, but it's pretty cool. I like it here.
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes I look at my kids, I be like, where did y'all come from? Like,
Definitely.
Yes.
I tell them all the time, I never wanted to have to share all my air. And everywhere I look, I'm a lot different than what you said. Right. Everywhere I look, somebody is sharing my air. I mean, like,
And borrowing your stuff.
Yeah.
right.
Oh, just
That's
take
a
my
whole
stuff. Like they think it's theirs. Like just walk in, take it, and you looking around for your stuff.
Yeah.
Asking for your own stuff. Asking for your own
No.
stuff. Like I said, when I moved out at 18, my first apartment I lived in by myself. And I lived there for a while. And then it was a 1 bedroom. It was perfect for me. But I lived with this, in New York, you have a lot of basement apartments. It was really nice. I had my own entrance, whatever. But like my heat was upstairs in the lady's, main part of her house. And she worked at night. So this little mean old lady, when she would go to work, she would turn the heat off. And then like she was super nosy. So like she knew, and I think, I was dating Anthony at the time. She knew like he was my boyfriend. So if she saw anybody coming to my house, like an uncle, a friend, my brother, I saw some guy walking in the yard, like, I'm like, that's not your business. Like, so then, so I moved out of her place and I got a roommate. And after having a roommate for a minute, it made me realize, like, I don't want to live with nobody. The roommate was like, it was a 2-bedroom apartment or whatever, but she was just interesting. It was very, very interesting. And I was like, yeah, I'm better by myself. And so like I was kind of set on the by myself thing. And then, that kind of quickly dwindled. But yeah, I don't know, the whole kid thing. Like kids, they touch everything. They're always, every time I look, somebody's right here. Like, they just, they're a blessing, but it's a lot. It's a lot of work. I would say, like, I wouldn't trade my kids. Well, maybe the boy. I might trade him. But
the boy will always make you second guessing.
Oh, that boy.
Yeah.
That boy. Yeah, he's a lot of work. I will say I like your idea though, Shanetta, when you said every year before the school year starts, that you sit down with the kids and have them set goals for the year. I think that's definitely something that I am going to try the next school year, because that boy, yeah. Who is this calling me? Don't you see me online? Maybe not. But my son is always been interesting. So let me ask you ladies a question. When you look at your kids, right? Sometimes even in their worst moments, like the moments when you be like, do you see yourself? Trina, I'm gonna ask you first, because I remember what you was like.
Let's see. Yes. More so when my daughter was younger. Just her responses to me. You know what I mean? Now it's just like I used to be like, don't you want to use your, intelligence for good, not trying to use it against me? Because it was always a smart, not disrespectful, but she had a response that was like, oh, okay, that's true, but nobody asked you none of that, And my son, I don't know where he comes from. He's a contrarian. It's like no matter what, and I'm not really contrary, but like no matter what I say, he's gonna try to prove the opposite or whatever. And he does it for fun, I guess. I don't know. He's just a contrarian. So
you say you're not very contrary. Is that what you said?
I don't think I am.
You mean like at 48, right?
Yeah.
You mean like now? Right.
What you trying to say?
No, I'm not. Listen, first of all, being contrary doesn't necessarily mean you don't have to be a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, okay, so like even my mother, right? When I talking to my mother, it's 5 of us, and I always tell her, she always say, these kids don't act nothing like me. And I remind her that yes, the kids may not act like 60-year-old you, but I remember, because I'm the oldest, some of these different stages they was, they got some of that behavior. So I think about, I remember you as a teenager. You don't think that maybe back then you was a little bit?
I don't know about all that. A contrary? Just to be contrary, just for the sake of being contrary.
Oh, absolutely.
We're gonna have to have a
That
conversation.
baby come out in your father's head all the time. You know that.
See, but no, that's different because that's a whole situation. Okay. Me and him, we had yeah.
Right.
But I wasn't trying to control. I don't be trying to control my son. He was always trying to control me.
Right.
And so, yes, I had issues with him because he was very controlling.
Right.
That's right. It's different.
Who was that, Tyson?
No, Anthony. Oh. He said it's different. That's right. It's different. I think it's different. All right. Well, I mean, I guess somebody could tell me if you're on the outside looking in. We'll talk. Shanetta.
I definitely see myself kind of like on repeat in my kids in different, different ones at different times with different things that they do. And it's just kind of like, I remember as a kid, as a teenager, maybe my dad would just look at me sometimes and he would just laugh. And I would be so annoyed at the fact that he would just look at me and laugh. Like, what are you laughing at? Like, why would you just look at me and laugh? But now, as a mom, I completely get it. Like, I completely get just like sitting in a moment and just kind of sitting back and watching your kid do something. And you're just kind of like, seriously, and you want to say something and you kind of almost even like, if it's something bad, you kind of want to punish them. But you just kind of have that moment where you're just like, oh my God, this is me all over again. And so sometimes I just sit back and I just laugh and I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is. And I already kind of like, I've been there, done that. I've outsmarted you. I have the t-shirt to prove it. And like, keep it coming, because I got I can take it with the best of them because I know exactly what you're thinking and what you're about to do.
Yep.
So yeah, but then I do have moments where I'm like, I don't know who you belong to, where you come from, or where you even got those thoughts or ideas from. Like, something is wrong with you. And I don't know who's raising you.
Who raised you?
Right.
So do you think you parent at all like your mother or like your parents, Shanetta?
For me, a little bit, but not a whole lot. Just a little bit. Like, there are some things that I'm like, yeah, like that worked and that was well, but there are some things where I'm like, yeah, that was not good for me, and just not gonna do that.
Okay. Trina.
I agree. There's some things that did work and I stick with that, but there's some things I'm just like the whole trying to be overbearing and controlling, especially to my daughter. That would turn her completely away. And I know that because I know her personality. So I've got to, especially the late teens now, she's 20. This is the age I have to step back and give advice, because me trying to hover and be that should be out the door. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And so certain things that I just have to do things a little bit differently than, the way my parents handled it,
Yeah.
And I have to say, I definitely agree. My children, like, my children are very, like I said, they're very sensitive. Like, especially my daughter. Like, she is all bark and no bite. Like, when you hear her talk, sometimes I'm like, what's wrong with you? And then as soon as I start fussing, He go to eyes welling up and she crying. And my son, he may be sensitive, but he's like, I ain't gonna cry. I like, he's the kind that's gonna just tune you out. Like, he just okay. Like, you hear anything I said? No, you're not really listening. So I find that I definitely had to. I think it's always like those think things because you don't really know. I think I parent them according to who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say I think that's my prayer that that I'm doing it and I'm doing it at least halfway right. Like I know sometimes I'd be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have did that. But it's kind of one of those, well, the moment is past, so let's do it better next time. It always does help, that I'm not having to do it alone. So, like I can shift some of the stuff. And like I said something to my son, mind you, this boy's only 12. And so he walked into his room. Like when you were young, your mother might say something or your dad say something. You go in your room like, get on my nerves, kind of under your breath, and they never hear you. So he didn't say, that I get on his nerves, but he made some kind of comment and I caught like whatever. And I was like, what did he say? Oh, I was talking to myself. I was talking to myself. Now, my mother probably would have killed me. Like, I just, luckily, I have that bonus. I sent him in the room and said, you know what? I'm going to call your dad. And I've been waiting for a long time. You see that on TV? Wait till your father gets home. That is exactly what I told him. You should have heard him crying like a fool. I said, oh, when your father get home, I'm coming too. And he coming. Like, I have to say, like, that was very different. Because, I feel like I'm more of like the mean one. Daddy gives the passes. He's definitely the nicer of the two. But yeah, I don't think I parent anything like my mother, which she makes sure she tells me when I'm regular. So yeah, I definitely.
But you know what? The thing about parenting though is like, what? You do your best. Parents did their best. You're not perfect. So you're not going to be a perfect parent. And, and when you approach it that way and also let your children know that as well, like I'm trying my best. I never been a parent of a, 20-year-old before, but guess what? We going to get this, together and we're going to be respectful and we're going to see how it works out. We're going to pray about it and keep it moving. But like, you have to give yourself that, and as well as your children, like nobody's perfect, and I'm doing my best. You listen, we gonna get through this together, but I'm doing my best, and I think we have to give our parents that same pass as well. Looking back and just be like, what, they were doing the best they could, what they knew and what their parents did, and probably they made changes from how their parents raised them as well, what they learned in the church or wherever they learned, trying to raise us. And, and I try to look back and give my parents that same, like, what, they did the best they could. And even when they were trying to hold tight, and I was like, nah, I ain't gonna be holding me tight like this. They were just trying to make sure I didn't get hurt or do, you know what I'm saying? So like, we just have to understand that everybody's trying to do their best and do their best for their children,
Yeah.
You're right. And you absolutely bring up a great point. Because, I say that all the time, like your parents do the best they know how. And then a lot of times we get older and we're like, oh, you were a terrible mother. Like, I did my best. Like, there's rarely, I'm sure there are people out there, but, as a general rule, your parent don't wake up and say, oh, today I'm going to do something miserable to this kid. Like, as a general rule, there's, that's not a general rule. Like, sometimes, even when you make a decision, after you make it, you're like, oh, that one was the best one. But what's out there, like, okay, so we gonna recover.
Right,
You know,
right.
we're gonna do what we can to recover, and we're gonna move forward. And I think sometimes, adult kids have to accept that fact
Yeah.
that your parents made a decision not in mind to hurt you.
Mhm.
Right.
Like at the time, I thought that was gonna be great. At the time, I thought I was making the best decision.
Mm-hmm.
Like once it's made, it's like, ugh, that wasn't that great. But it kind of is what it is. Because I think about even when I packed up my kids and I moved to Illinois to get away from their father. I went all the way to this cold state, and Alexis was only 2. She could barely talk, but that girl let me know that I had made a decision she was not happy about. Her
Oh.
dad at night, he used to get up and he would get her at night. So at night, when she started crying and she see me coming in, she would be mad. Like, I mean, so mad. You know how a crib is? She would climb to the far back corner of the crib. Because, I'm short. I can't reach her. And she would just sit there and look at me and scream. She just screamed. And this went on for months when I took her and moved away from her dad. So after I let her cry for a little bit, I'd have to pull the crib out, walk around the back of it to pick her up. And we went through this for months. She was determined to let me know, like she couldn't talk, but she let me know she did not like my decision of her father not getting her at night. And and I think about that all the time. At the time, it was a great decision for me. So I thought, but it really wasn't the best for them.
Right.
So, it really made me look at my mom in a whole different light. Sometimes she did stuff that I'm sure she felt was the best decision for her in the moment. And, as the decision rolled down, I didn't always feel like that was a good one. But as a kid, it happens. So I think sometimes we definitely need to give our parents some slack, show a little grace.
Mm-hmm.
And not so much for them, just so you're not carrying around stuff
Right.
for 30 years. You
Yeah.
ain't lived with your mama for 30 years and you still carried around something she did when you were 7. Like, we really have to that's a destructive type thing that we do to
Mm-hmm.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's definitely important to, as you grow older, to take those moments where you really sit down and think about things, and really like look at things objectively. And
Yeah.
sometimes, somebody else has to bring it out and say it to you so you see it a different way. Don't always have conversations in your head, because if you're the only person talking, you always gonna agree with yourself. I mean, think about
Right.
you're gonna be like,
That's
no, girl, you right. Right. Like sometimes you have to talk to somebody, that can give you a different perspective, help you out.
Mm-hmm.
It can make a world of difference in who you are, even in the moment. That a bit of grace, that release you can get from just seeing something from a different perspective is absolutely wonderful. So, ladies, thank you so much for being on. I so appreciate you. We know Friday is Christmas. So I just want to say Merry Christmas to you ladies. And
Yeah.
I hope y'all enjoy it with y'all wonderful children. Because ain't too many people seeing nobody outside their children.
Right.
Uh, Unfortunately, we are still not as connected as a lot of us would like to be. So I hope, my prayers for the holidays, that you find some peace and some comfort, even though the situation is not as any of us would have hoped this season.
Right.
So to everybody watching, Merry Christmas. Enjoy your day. Be safe. We won't be on again until January. So I think that's 1 week. So next week we won't come on. We're gonna take that last week and just, roll it out. And we'll be back the first Tuesday in January. Oh, Kawana, thank you. I had some good last listen. Merry Christmas to y'all. Merry Christmas to you as well. So, yes, we will be back the first Tuesday in January, ladies. And to all our viewers, we hope to see you then. Enjoy your Christmas and have a happy new year. Uh-oh. I don't think this right.